Well, we went to the beach too, which is kind of nice.
Did you cut the lawn at the beach? That'd be really neighborly of you.
No, I can't. That's Crown land, and I think I might get in trouble for that.
Only in Canada would you get in trouble for mowing someone else's lawn.
That's true. Where are you guys going? Yeah.
This might be our first podcast with several multiple surprise guests.
Yeah, no, it's going to be awful.
Well, guys, we are here on episode number 11 of You, Me, and Us. We've got our super happy, awesome first Canadian guest, our friends Brojitsu, coming in hot today. Actually, only half of Brojitsu, as Brojitsu itself is a two-person operation. But today we got Lee, who is the happier and cuter of the two, I'm told.
Absolutely.
How's it going today, Lee?
Really good. How are you? It's a pleasure to meet you, actually, for kind of in person.
Yeah, this is as in person as you get when your life is on the internet.
That's true. This is very intimate for what we normally do.
It sounds like somebody's wrapping something with tinfoil behind you.
Yeah, no, we got some tinfoil stuff going on back here. It's okay.
Okay, it's just another night in the Lee household.
Yeah, Baby City. You know about it.
Oh, I know all about it. I definitely let my babies play with tinfoil.
That's good. Guns, knives. Tinfoil.
So, how are things in Brojitsu land?
Things are good. Yeah, we just launched the website. We're putting products out there, some shirts and patches, stickers, and we're developing some new shirts, some funny stuff coming on the shirts too. So things are going pretty good. Following's growing. Memes are still coming out. We haven't run out of ideas yet, and there's plenty to steal from you. So, I mean, right.
I'm happy to feed everybody.
Oh, that's good. You really do. You help us out a lot.
No, I do my fair bit of stealing too. Keep that on the low.
Yes, it's between you, me, and the tens and hundreds of people watching.
Yeah, the tens of people for right now.
Tens of people around the world.
But this is going to be recorded for posterity so people can come back and be like, those bastards, I knew it. They're just stealing their shit.
Yeah, I know. It's recorded now. We're in big trouble.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
I find too when you don't quite steal, but you kind of sometimes do memes that guys have done already accidentally. Have you done that before? Yeah,
there's different levels to getting a meme out there when it comes to something that's been done. There's the ones that obviously everybody has done before, and it's kind of like that open territory that you just gotta put your own spin on a bit. And then there's those that you didn't know had already existed, and you accidentally put something out that's very similar to someone else's. And then there's those strange serendipitous times where you almost have word for word the same thing as something that's already been out there, and maybe even the same picture. And then it gets a little fishy. But it happens.
It happens. We run into it before. A girl sent us messages like, I did this in 2015. Sorry.
Hey, we're doing it better and newer, so.
Yeah, it's fresh.
Yeah, well, I mean, the meme game, I think, is easier than people think it is, because the internet is omnipresent and ever potent. You know what I mean? There's always new juicy bits to A, glean from, and B, make fun of.
The deeper you are in the internet, the easier it is, I find. The more plugged in you are, the more available that stuff comes. If you're just a tourist, it can be tough. Even keeping up with meme trends can be a bit maybe overwhelming for normies, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. There's something I always try to monitor myself when I see something hot coming down the pipe. I'm like, okay, this is definitely useful. A lot of people are doing it. I'm going to give it like 24, maybe 48 hours to distill a little bit. Because if you get on that train a little too early, half the people will be like, I don't get it.
See, we're as fast as possible. We want it out there. We're like, someone else, because Jiu-Jitsu is going to do it, if we don't do it, so we got to get out faster. I'm trying to beat everybody.
I'm in a privileged position where even if I'm slow to it, I can sort of distill it from the top end and it just sort of umbrellas over everything.
Yeah, you're bombing from way above.
But not really, because I think that we share a lot of the same audience. So you can't, you got to keep shooting in different directions, I find.
That's true. And when you think about, if we look at our combined audience, so say you've got, I think what you're at 90,000, we're at 20-some thousand. You probably have all 20,000 of our followers already. So it's not like that makes it 110,000 people. I think it's pretty much a very small audience when you think about it.
I'm not very good at math, Lee, so I just add two numbers together. If it gets more complicated than that, that's where I flunk.
I'm in the same boat, basically.
I'll take your word for it. It sounds like there's a square root somewhere in there that I'm not picking up on.
Trust me, it's not complicated.
Well, that makes me feel even worse.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So tell the people a little bit about the inception of Brojitsu, how it came to be that two people of separate brains came together to build one super brain that became its profile that is now over 20,000 strong.
Well, it was 3 brains to begin with, and it was all...
Oh shit, you ate one.
Yeah, no, he died. He's dead. But it was noble. He was trying to rescue some orphans in a fire, and it just didn't work out for him. But
selfless.
Proceeds of our shirts go towards his foundation, the Chuck Grace Orphan Fire Foundation.
Or at least for the barbecue where there's beer served in his name.
Right, where he's going to be there too, probably. But yeah, it was 3 of us, and it was a group chat, and we would see guys like yourself and BJJ Province were doing it, and we would just kind of make memes and send them to each other. And I think we got, up to like 4 memes. So
that's an account.
We got to get an account going. So my wife kind of threw out a name, Brojitsu, because, it was bros, and we like jiu-jitsu. So we just kind of portmanteaued those 2 together.
She's a marketing genius.
She is, really. And then from there, yeah, we just kind of kept throwing memes out, and then eventually we decided, hey, we've got a pretty engaged audience, and we want to try and build a brand around it, hopefully. And the idea behind the brand was that we didn't want that, a really flashy type, affliction-esque, like in gold letters, I do jiu-jitsu. We wanted something a little more subtle that maybe jiu-jitsu people would recognize. So it's like a nod to those who do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at now. It's just making memes. And we're even branching out into normal memes a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I hear on the low that that's happening. I mean, the normies need some laughs too, but in the jiu-jitsu verse, I think there is a short handful of sites that most people would recognize, and you are definitely on that radar.
Well, that's really nice to hear. We just, we've been growing really fast. We keep putting out what we believe to be quality content. We try to. I mean, it's a tough game. Sometimes you think you got fire and it's a real dud, but you just keep pumping them out, and eventually you're going to get a winner, right? I think it's those almost every motivational speaker will tell you fail, 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 victory kind of thing. So
yeah,
we do a lot of failing, and then sometimes we get some victories in.
Yeah, I think Wayne Gretzky was quoted as saying, "You miss every laugh that you don't meme."
That's
it's something like that.
It's an old Canadian.
Yeah, it's a Canadian adage. Most of our listeners wouldn't know it.
You wouldn't understand it. It's in the Constitution of Canadian something or other.
Yeah, if you listen carefully at a hockey game, you'll hear it during the anthem.
That's right. Yeah.
So you are more Canadian than me, and I'll tell you why.
Oh.
You live further up in the north, and the norther you get, the more Canadian you get, just by proxy. This is just the way it works geographically. If people around the world didn't realize that, the norther you get, the more Canadian you get. And Lee, you are norther than me by about 25 fuck it's colds.
plenty of cold. Yeah, it's up there. We live honestly in a place that nobody knows. It's called Fort St. John, British Columbia, and a lot of Americans maybe have driven through because it is on the only road to Alaska.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of our thing. We're on the Alaska Highway. It goes to Alaska. We're really prevalent in oil and gas here, so it's pretty heavy rig pig type culture, if you will.
Mm.
You may be familiar. I think your area is similar, yeah?
Well, Alberta is as a whole. Yeah. So yeah, we're definitely in that same trade environment. But
we're kind of like Alberta Part 2 over here. Like it's literally the same. We're the only part of BC that's not BC.
It's a satellite Alberta.
That's exactly right.
We're reaching our roots over west, trying to grab some coast.
Well, all you got was us, sorry.
Yeah, it didn't work very well. Shit.
Shame on you.
So, you guys, I was talking to you a little while back once I figured out that you were not only Canadian, but just next door, a little bit next door. And I was like, hey, well, you should come to this tournament I'm going to, or you should come to this seminar I'm going to. And every time I do that, I Google map you, and I'm like, oh, right, I forgot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's hard to get anywhere. It's hard to compete for us. And, I don't have a huge competition fire myself. I've competed in some tournaments for sure, and I've even done a super fight before. But
shit.
Oh, yeah, big deal. But for the most part, get into a tournament. I mean, Edmonton is kind of the closest location, and it's not close, and you got to get hotels, and yada, yada, yada. So it's tough for us to compete here. We have, with the affiliation, we're with 5 Star. They've done some little tournaments kind of for the Northeast BC small community of jiu-jitsu that's out here. And so, that's, and I'm usually reffing for those, so I don't compete. Definitely, the competition scene out here is a little tough, but we got some spark plugs here, and we do have some talented mixed martial arts fighters in the area as well.
Yeah, I know more about the MMA scene out there, quite honestly, than the jiu-jitsu scene, because we being like the Red Deer, Central Alberta area people, have sent a number of fighters out there for their organization, the 5 Star Fight League, which is like, they do a damn fine job.
Yeah, they do. They're really nice shows, fairly well organized, and I think really good because they kind of hit the rural scene, which is less common, I would say. And it obviously features people I know, so I'm a little biased to it. But yeah, they do. They put on a really great show.
But do you think that the MMA is more popular out there because of the rig pig, tough guy, beat 'em up, punch you in the mouth type people?
You'd be surprised how many of those people never darken the door and step of our gym.
Mm.
It's too much ego on the. I don't know. For the most part, you find fairly level-headed individuals who've maybe watched UFC for a long time or somewhat interested in grappling, and generally they'll have read magazines about it before they come in, or they've watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos on it, and they've really studied up, and they're really interested, and it took a lot for them to walk through the door, but when they do, they're pleasantly surprised by the atmosphere and how fun it is there, and just how much camaraderie you find on the mats, which is a huge thing that Brojitsu is about. It's about the friendships that you make and build on the mats.
So you're not sexist, is what you're saying?
Not at all.
Oh, okay. It's hard to tell with the name, though. I'm sure a lot of feminists look at Brojitsu and are like, I would like to like it, I want to laugh, but where's the femjitsu?
Well, hey, femjitsu is not bad. We were thinking gal jitsu or cis jitsu or something like that. But in our bio, in our website, we just kind of said it's not just for bros. It just kind of worked out, Brojitsu. Later on, we kind of thought, maybe we're excluding women, but I feel like the ladies enjoy and engage in the site still, regardless of our somewhat sexist name.
I'm sure they do. Now, hear me out. You can switch the gender a little. It's going to be a little spicy, but it rhymes. We're talking hojitsu. Get on that.
I like it.
Okay, we got the bros and the hoes, right? That's an internet thing, isn't it?
Is that a sexist name, though?
I don't think it's sexist, but it's definitely misogynist. So, I mean, pick your poison.
If we change the whole name to Hojitsu, I think it's okay. But if we had Brojitsu and Hojitsu, I think it insinuates the bros are cool, but
We might have just screwed it up, because if you didn't tell the whole world about it, we could make that page and then have them warring together.
Someone already got that page going.
Oh, yeah? They probably did.
I think so.
Those hoes. The meme wars are real.
They are real.
There are some meme accounts out there that just have a hard time playing nice with people. Have you noticed this?
I've noticed, but from afar. I try not to get too involved myself. Brojitsu is pretty PC, I'd say. We try to be.
I love the way that you talk in the third person every time you talk about your account. It's adorable.
It's not just me. That's the thing. It takes teamwork for Brojitsu to happen.
It's like it's a corporate entity. We at Brojitsu.
Totally.
You have your own lawyers and your LLC, and
apparently I know a guy who knows internet lawyers. I didn't know there was a thing. But...
Yeah, I just learned about this the other day too.
Did you have to get one?
No, fuck, I can't afford that. Are you kidding me? I mean, yes, I have plenty. 13 on retainer.
I thought you had all that meme money.
Well, I do have all the meme money, but I'm sorry to tell you, it's like you can hear it jingling in my pocket right now.
I think it's like similar to a Bitcoin.
That's right. This effervescence currency that it only lives online, but there's lots of it, so go get yours.
It's hot right now, too.
It's so hot right now.
Maybe we could come up with a meme currency of some sort.
Oh.
Maybe it like buys followers or likes or...
Meme Steam. We're going to get that.
We should cut this part out in case anybody...
We're going to have to. Okay, anybody listening in the chat, I'm sorry, but we're putting a hit on you.
It's fair. That's fair. We're going to kill you.
It is fair, right? We invite them in and then accidentally tell them some information. We have to kill them. This is like the most Russian podcast I've done yet.
It sounds like a really good movie idea, actually, where, like, come watch our podcast, but then, like, some shady shit goes on, and then we find out who they are, and then we have to kill them all so they don't tell anybody.
This is also going to be a Tom Cruise movie, I'm certain of it.
What was the line? Full volume. Full volume.
Full volume.
We were doing it earlier. What was it? Full volume.
Yeah. Hey, damn, you do a good Tom Cruise.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That was scary. How do you feel about Scientology?
I love it.
Damn. You're right on board.
No, level 16.
Moments away from transcending into a godlike creature, I'm sure of it.
That's right. I'm about to transcend. I spared no expense.
Okay. Well, you might not need the meme money anyways.
No, not if you get to that level of Scientology. You don't need any money.
That's a good life hack. Maybe I'm doing it all wrong.
You are.
Okay. Well, thank you, Brojitsu, corporate entity thereof, getting me back on track with my Scientology. What is the atmosphere like up in your particular area for, I don't know, like martial arts in general? Like, are there other types of schools out there, or is it all just MMA, BJJ?
There's a long time no here. Like there's Taekwondo everywhere, but that gym has adopted. There's I think Japanese Jiu-Jitsu here. I'm pretty sure there's karate. I think a total now of 4 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practicing gyms.
Oh wow!
For a population of, I think we have 20,000 people here. That's a lot of Jiu-Jitsu, I think.
Yeah, for real.
And then there's some, like I said, there's some Taekwondo and some karate, and there's some boxing programs out here. Wrestling, I think in high school a little bit, but other than that, that's about it.
That's actually a lot. That just about covered every martial art there is.
Yeah, I guess, okay, it's a pretty good scene out here, maybe.
Incredible. Apparently we're slacking down here.
What kind of, are you guys, like one gym?
Well, as far as BJJ is concerned, for central Alberta where I'm at, which for people who don't know geographically, there's basically 2 cities that are worth anything in Alberta, and we're dead in the middle of it. So you've got Calgary to the south, Edmonton to the north, and we're just sort of like the gas alley on the way between the two. But we've got a fair bit of jiu-jitsu both south and north, and surprisingly not very much in the middle.
Really?
Yeah.
How many gyms in Red Deer?
That do BJJ outside my own that I just started like a month and a half ago, that is slightly outside of Red Deer. There are 3 gyms that do any sort of jiu-jitsu and only 2 that do the gi.
Really?
In a population of 90,000.
That seems like Fort St. John's really kicking your butt.
Yeah, or we're just really slacking. Like, this is one of the reasons why I decided to start a gym, because it's very lacking. It's quite obvious.
And how's it going?
Pretty good. Actually, after a month, I'm almost breaking even on my bills already. So within a few months, I'll be turning a profit, which, as far as gyms are concerned, is not the easiest thing to do when you start off.
That's amazing, man. So between meme monies, this podcast must be just raking in the dough.
Obviously.
The jiu-jitsu gym, you're doing really well.
Yeah. I don't like to say that I am like Conor McGregor in very many ways,
right?
But the money is the way that I would say. I was looking at McGregor's Instagram today because I don't know why when he posts something, the entire internet has to see it, but they just do. So for whatever reason, there was a number of posts that he put up from Russia for the finals of the FIFA World Cup that is being held over there. And his new buddy next to him, arm around him, talking like they're old pals, is none other than Vladimir Putin.
Wow.
That seems like an odd conglomeration. Like, I don't know what you would call the meme page that those two would come up with.
Let's call it Conor McPutin.
That sounds delicious. I don't know why.
It sounds like gravy and French fries.
Yeah, I would eat a Conor McPutin with a side of fries and like supersize that shit.
I'm into it.
Shit, now I'm hungry. That was a bad move. The McPutin. That's gonna have to happen. But
anyways, congratulations on all your success. That's amazing. Because you. Fun fact for our listeners: you worked for the same company that I worked for at one point.
Oh, really? You were working with Finning?
I work for Finning.
Oh, okay. Which is heavy equipment. Were you in the engineering side or?
No, the rental side.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a smart guy.
Well, Finning started over in BC, so it doesn't surprise me. They're pretty big in the scene. For tractors and loaders and a whole bunch of shit that costs a lot of money, but they pay their employees well. Yeah, no, I'm not with them anymore. They decided to vacate the city I'm at and just sort of leave everybody with their suitcases in hand at the side of the road. So it was at that point that I discovered that I was rich with meme money and said, fuck y'all, I'm going to do my own thing. So that's what I'm doing.
Real though, total blessing in disguise, I would say, because now you're doing what you love.
Yeah, this is the thing, is I was already at that point mentally for the last 3 years before it happened. Like, I was miserable at that job. Every single day going to work was just like another day in the penitentiary. It was no fun, and I actually enjoyed most of the work just with my hands, like the actual work, but it was the environment that was killing me. And knowing that I could get out if I really put my mind to it. And so, I don't know, the way the universe works, it ended up being, instead of me making the decision, that I got the boot out of the nest and just figured out that it's not that hard to fly once you're out of it. I was just too comfortable in an easy spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been working for Cat Reynolds Finning for 14 years now, so I get it. I've definitely Shawshanked in there a little bit, so it's an inspiration. It's good to hear that you're doing that, man. I bet you're a lot happier. You probably feel better all the time doing what you want to do and kind of following your dreams and everything. So good for you, man. Yeah,
that there's a special feeling when you can turn off your alarm that you've had on your phone for 5 years that says 4:30 a.m. and just forget about it. Like actually delete it off your phone.
You went at 4:30?
Yeah. Well, I'd get up and have to get going and drive and get ready to work to start at 6. So
I guess how far do you live out of Red Deer?
only about 20 minutes. But I used to do the thing where you would wake up with literally to the second enough time to jump out of bed in your car and go to work. But it's just after a while, especially at that job, the equipment's so big that if you fuck something up, people probably die.
Yeah, you got to be sharp for that.
Yeah.
I'm in sales, so I literally just have to get to work and get some coffee.
Yeah, I would have preferred that, but like I said, I was not keen on losing body parts because I wasn't awake for the first hour of work. So
Makes a lot of sense.
that's why I tried to get myself awake before getting there.
And you're a welder, right?
Yes, yeah. Even though I do not at the moment, I will be ticketed for the rest of my life and can pretend that I'm good at that forever. They don't take that one away.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Our coach is a welder, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he welds out here. He's got his own rig and everything, and he's gotten pretty far in the amateur scene here in Canada. Are you familiar with what is it, Canadian amateur mixed martial arts tournaments that happen out in Lethbridge?
I was so confused for a second. I'm like, he was in the amateur welding scene? Please do go on. What have I been missing all this time?
It was a welding MMA, actually.
Wow.
So you had to wear like a welding helmet and then...
You build your weapon and the fastest person to build it can club the person with it. I get it.
Yeah, it's super entertaining.
So he was doing the Canadian team for amateur MMA?
Yeah, so he'd won the Canadian title twice and went to Worlds twice and fell short on the world stage. Like they were in Bahrain last year, which is somewhere in the Middle East. It's some kind of...
This is so strange that a sport as big as MMA has got actually has like a more tangible world amateur scene than the professional scene, because the professional scene, it's all just, they've got their little entities here and there. You've got ONE FC, UFC, Bellator. They're all their own thing. It's not really like a sport that you would take to the Olympics, right?
Right. And that's where this is kind of cool. And also what's crazy about it, and I think in some instances harder than a lot of these pro ones, is the tournament style. Like 3 fights in 3 days in a lot of cases.
Oh, God.
My coach Dylan had done at least, I think twice when he had to compete, he had to do 3 fights in a row, 3 days in a row. And if you make it to Worlds, it's even more. It's like 5 fights in a row.
That should be illegal.
Martial arts fights.
Yeah, well, what are the rule differences for amateur in that venue? Because I know amateur rules sort of change as you go around from venue to venue.
Yeah, so there's no elbows. I think you can't strike to the face when they're on the ground with your fists unless they've had a certain amount of fights. So both guys have had like 10 amateur fights. I think they're allowed, and then the rounds are a little bit shorter. And
do they wear the shin guards?
Shin guards, yeah, they do.
Can you head kick standing?
Yeah, I think you can do that.
Okay. Because I've been to some where they don't let you do that. You can punch standing. You can't head kick standing. You can kick to the body. It's like, I don't know, man. Like,
it's confusing.
Yeah, I know. If you look at like the gradated tiers of martial arts tournaments, you can start with your no-touch sparring karate. Then you get to your grappling jiu-jitsu. Then you're going to get to your combat jiu-jitsu where you can slap a bitch. And then... Then you can do your pancration where you can really slap a bitch. And then maybe it would be amateur MMA where you can punch a bitch, but you can't head kick a bitch. And then you're going to get to your pro MMA where you can, annihilate somebody. And then street fights is the highest level.
The highest level is the streets. And I mean, if you got a black belt in the streets,
bro,
can't fuck with you.
There's a reason why jiu-jitsu doesn't work there. It's too real. Too real.
It's too real. It's as real as it gets.
You don't know their mentality, bro.
Bro, I seen shit. But out in Lethbridge, it's the Wild West, man. Like, for whatever reason, they can do these tournaments. Like, I don't think you can do that anywhere else in Canada that I know of, which is why it's always in Lethbridge.
Really? So
look into it. Look into
it. Yeah, this sounds like some interesting conspiracy. I know down in Lethbridge, which is Alberta, the big gym down there is CMA, I think it's called. It's Lee Main that runs it, who is the father of Jordan Main, the UFC fighter.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where we would go and train while we were getting ready for the next fight or whatever, warming up and stuff like that. Because Lee actually hosts it, or he has his own, because he's got his own promotion.
Yeah, he's got Rumble in the Cage.
Yeah, and then he has, on the final night, it's like a whole, well, here's the finals of this amateur tournament featuring, possibly Lee Mean fighting and some other guys locally. So that seems pretty good there.
That guy is fascinating and interesting in so many levels. If you've never seen Lee Main before, just picture the broiest looking, muscle-bound superhero character you can imagine. Like somebody who would flex and rip shirts, but he's closing in on 50. But he still takes pro boxing, pro MMA, grappling super fights as much as he possibly can against whoever the fuck they put in front of him. It's bizarre. Like, the guy doesn't age, and he doesn't say no to anything.
No, he looks really good, and he fights all the time. He's just one of those guys that maybe he came from the streets, because his mentality, bro.
Yeah, well,
he doesn't back down.
You were saying certain rules don't apply to Lethbridge. Apparently, chronological passing of time doesn't.
No, it's an oddity there, actually. Lee Mean beat up the rules and killed them.
Won by TKO.
He looks like, it's like Batista, like.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
That's what he looks.
Yeah, so that's, and then there's Jordan, who doesn't. But his striking is more terrifying, in my opinion. I remember watching Jordan Main fighting on the local scene, doing a bunch of the local MMA fights here. And it was just not fair. Like, that kid's striking is on a different level. His grappling is awesome too, but his striking is so crisp. Like, you watch the fight that he had versus Cyborg in Strikeforce, we were seeing that level of striking on the local scene. Like, that's not fair.
It's too bad for those poor locals.
Yeah. I was talking on a different podcast earlier. I forget who I was telling this to, but I think you forget that these superstars that you're seeing and like wowing and oohing and awing at in the big level fights, it wasn't too many years before that they were at local events just because they weren't famous yet, not because they weren't fucking amazing. So you've got these poor guys that probably have to fight them because it's just, he's new. Well, he's only got 2 fights. Oh, he's only got 2 fights. I got 12 fights. Yeah, I'm 2-10, but I can take this guy. Yeah, sorry, his name's George St. Pierre. You're going to know about him in a couple of years.
Yeah, that's a shame for everybody that gets lined up against those guys.
Yeah.
Jordan seems like he's part of the new generation of mixed martial arts fighter. Because let's say, I'm going to assume, when you and I started watching mixed martial arts, someone came from pretty much a singular background, martial art, and then filled in all the mixed martial, like the rest of them afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, I believe he grew up around mixed martial arts probably when he started walking. Was all of it.
Yeah, he was a lifer, and his dad was a product of Bas Rutten and his system. So this is like his father's being taught by Bas Rutten, who was already the UFC heavyweight champion. So he's done a thing, and at a very high level, which of course is only evolving more and more as you see in Jordan. But I don't know where you differentiate what the next generation is for MMA, but he's definitely, I would say, the same generation as Rory McDonald. Like, they were kind of contemporaneous. In fact, they had a fight when he was, I think, 17 years old. They fought each other amateur under Lee's event, Rumble in the Cage.
And who won?
Rory did.
Good for him.
Yeah, yeah, but they're the same style, right? It's like they learned MMA. They didn't learn wrestling and Muay Thai and BJJ. They just learned MMA.
Which is, I think, takes you to a whole different ballpark than these other guys. You know, I shouldn't say. I think there's more guys like that now. Quite a few, probably, at this point. But the old school dudes that, and I'm still stuck in the old school. Like, I still think about, like, like Chuck's having a fight coming up. Like, Chuck Liddell was the man. You'd wait, like, 7 months for a UFC. But it was always, like, Chuck Liddell and Matt Hughes. And they were gonna win. And there was always, like, a clear-cut, like, Babalu Sobral is a bad guy.
Yeah, I was going to say Babalu.
Yeah. And it was really easy. It was like, I love Chuck, and he's going to win. And Babalu, he's bad, and I don't like him. And it was simpler times. But now I feel like there's been 2 or 3 UFC events since you and I have been on this podcast.
There probably has. I honestly didn't even know that there was both a Bellator and a UFC this week. My head is still spinning from the heavyweight fight the week before.
Right. I can't even do it. At this point now, I don't want to watch any of it. Some of it.
There's certain names that pop out, right? Like anytime you've got Galabib or these big names that draw ire, so it's going to be your Connors, your John Jones, the ones that are blowing up the world whether they're fighting or not. They'll always get my pay-per-view dollars, but like I couldn't even tell you who was fighting on the last one. I think Sage Northcutt was, just because I've seen the memes.
I saw a lot of in the search section of Instagram him doing that side flippy thing. I was like, he must have fought. I think he probably won too, because he did that flip. Because that's not a flip you do when you lose.
I gotta wonder if he's got a manager, how worried his manager is every fight that the moneymaker's gonna get broken, because he's just too cute.
He's super cute,
and he's in an industry that like chews up cute like a meat grinder.
Maybe it would be like, you know how Mickey Rourke was like pretty good looking at one, like in the 80s?
I can only think of him in The Wrestler right now, which is not the case.
Okay, well, later Google it. Like, he's a really handsome guy. So he was like popular, and then there was this time when he was not popular, and then he got really ugly, and he was popular again. So maybe what'll happen with Sage Northcutt is he's going to be popular, get beat up a lot, and then come back ugly and more popular, like an eye patch. He'll look like Sagat from
Street Fighter.
Yeah, bald, because he'll have, like, his hair will have been punched off.
Okay, I can dig that. I can get in behind the Sage Northcutt anti-hero comeback.
That's what it is. It's kind of like Snake Plissken. Is that his name from Escape LA? That's what he's going to be like later.
You with your 80s references.
Sorry. It was a huge influence on Brojitsu, actually. Our memes were like mostly 80, like screenshots from 80s movies, and then we would change the line of the movie to be like armbar or jujitsu instead, and that was kind of our thing.
Yeah. There's a problem right now with the internet I'm finding is that maybe it's not the internet, maybe it's me, but I'm going to say it's the internet because there's no problem with me, is that the newest generation of, I don't know, the kids, whatever the kids would be, of today, they don't even know what, like, Fresh Prince is, and that doesn't seem that old to me. Like, that's not even 80s, that's 90s. And that's like, well, I was born in 97. I'm like, you can talk?
But I think that's a sign that you and I might be actually getting a little bit older.
No, it's the internet.
It's
their fault.
Because we don't think 1993 was that long ago, but it kind of was.
Yeah, you look at who is fighting back at the beginning of UFC now. You're like, oh, well, if you're old, I'm old. Shit.
We're old. I'm sorry. oldish. But, you know, we got fairly modern haircuts.
That helps.
We're on the internet, which, you know, a lot of old people aren't, so we got that going for us.
I don't understand how it works, but I use it. So
I don't know how it works.
I think we're kind of that transition between the old and the new. And we're kind of, we were that evolutionary step that people kind of don't look at that one. It's kind of ugly. It's just getting rid of its fins.
Yeah. Kind of like the Thing. We look like the Thing when it's transformed.
Right before it turns into Sage Northcutt.
Well, no, he's going to turn into that.
Okay, that's going to be how that story ends.
Like hooks and teeth coming out of his shoulder.
I can't wait. Oh, maybe that's bad of me that I wish ill on him, but he's just too cute. He's too cute, Lee.
Natural to want bad things to happen to cute people.
Yeah.
Unless you're cute.
No, I would want bad things to happen to me too. Like, I think there's a certain balance of the universe, the yin versus yang, and if yin is just too cute, then yang's gotta fuck it up a little bit.
It makes sense. It's the rule of Q. I think Einstein talked about that.
Again, it's past addition, simple subtraction. He had cool hair. I don't know much more about that. I lost my train of thought. You just fucked me up with math. You can't do that. I don't math very well. Let's get back to memes. I know about memes. You know about memes.
I know about memes.
So there's this thing going on online right now where entire meme sites are just vaporizing. This is something that I was talking to said intellectual property lawyer that we were alluding to earlier about, what do we have as far as rights, as far as content creators? What can we get, like, Thanos for? And do we have any repercussion or can we have any sort of actions taken after the fact to regain what gets taken away? And it doesn't sound very good.
Oh, really?
Well, go figure that a multi-billion-dollar organization in Instagram actually has their legal ducks in a row. But essentially,
I find that shocking.
Right? Yeah, I know. I've got some meme dollars, but I think they got more.
Okay, we gotta pump up the memes.
You pump up the memes.
So, what do you think? Okay, what do you think gets you Thanos?
Well, there's a common theme that I've found in most of the accounts that I've seen disappear, and that is the use of, at least in our niche, the use of UFC video content, which is, it's not any surprise to anybody who's watched the UFC, is illegal to reproduce without the express written content or the express written permission of Zuffa LLC or whoever it is now, WME. They said that before every broadcast for a reason, and I guess the reason is that they can sue if you take their content without permission. So here is the issue as far as Instagram is concerned. Instagram doesn't give a fuck that you get sued for infringing copyrights. They do give a fuck that you're infringing using their platform, which makes them legally culpable to be sued as well.
Really? Oh.
Yes. So what they do is they're very ahead of the game with simply deleting anything that they would see as a possible legal threat to them in like a suit against the content that's being produced on their platform.
So this is a self-preservation type move.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Yeah, which is why we don't really have any say in what they do, because it is their platform. So yes, we're producing our own intellectual property in the form of the content that we're producing, the jokes, as far as the artistic side of it. But if we are using content that could get us and or them sued, they don't care.
Yeah, we went and did a sweep. No more UFC stuff. We probably won't even use the imagery. And I mean, it's better safe than sorry. But I will say I would rather be Thanos and sued by the UFC. So
just go down like a martyr.
yeah.
There was a weird
So,
one though, that's sort of it's outside of that paradigm, but within our own niche. Which yesterday, I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, that Jeff Glover's account got taken down, which was 70,000 strong.
so any insight as to why? Was it the weed? Was it all the weed? Maybe.
I don't think it's the weed because there's tons of accounts that are dedicated to marijuana and pot culture on Instagram that are like hundreds of thousands of followers strong and have been around for a long time. I don't know. He said he doesn't know. I don't know. Maybe he's not saying something. Maybe he doesn't know. But for whatever reason, and again, they don't give you any explanation. And if you're going to try to talk to Instagram, you might as well yell into the vacuum of space because they don't give you anything back.
Yeah, I can believe that. I'm gonna write this huge email never to be replied to.
Yeah,
I can picture it.
if you ever need some therapy of like screaming at someone and just pouring out your vitriol on them, Instagram's great because they don't care. They don't even open it.
They really don't. But what if 70,000 followers? Let's think about it in the scheme of Instagram followings, the big ones. That's not big. It's not big.
I mean, as far as Instagram as a whole, no, it doesn't even exist. But as far as BJJ, it's actually one of the bigger accounts out there. Like
I would say in our niche for sure.
Yeah, as far as BJJ is concerned, and again, they don't care about BJJ, but within our own Jiu-Jitsu verse, that's a big account. Like, there's a lot of world champion black belts, multiple time world champion black belts that don't have that type of following on Instagram.
No.
They're missing out a lot of selfies and food porn that they could be getting followers with.
That's right. That's the key. And you know what? God bless you and God bless us for doing it without any of that content.
No.
I don't think there's even one selfie.
I actually, years ago, I snuck in a picture of myself that I memed. And not many people.
Memed it?
Yeah, not many people recognized it because I was very Batman at that point. I had the cowl down and didn't really show myself online.
If you meme it, it doesn't count as a selfie, I don't think.
Okay.
That was your artistic vision, and you had to do it.
That's true. And it wasn't technically a selfie. It was a picture from a tournament, but it was just like one of those perfect weird angle pictures that made something make sense.
So, do you see memes everywhere?
No. I have people ask me sometimes, and I'm sure you get this as well. They say, like, how do you think of all these ideas? And I don't lie awake thinking about what the next meme is going to be. I'm not overly concerned. If I need to make a meme 10 minutes from now, I'll figure it out because the internet is vast and you just need to go down a couple portals and you've gone down a few rabbit holes this way and that and you find something that's like, yeah, I can use that shit.
So I like to, if I have the images come, like if you lay out a whole bunch of just internet things, then I'll pick something up that, okay, I can make a meme out of that pretty much 100% of the time.
Yeah, I can tell at a glance, basically, if there's something in the picture, whether I know what it is or not. I mean,
it's the process, man.
It's probably a disease.
It's a deadly one, too.
Yeah, they're going to find years from now there's some meme cancer that they haven't identified.
That would be weird.
Yeah, oh, he's got the corneal meme-itis. But at least for now, it keeps me entertained. Here's something that you can commiserate with me about. How often do you get people not asking, essentially demanding a certain meme from you?
Every day.
Yeah.
But it's weird because a lot of times they make the meme themselves, and then they're like, make this meme that I already made and post it on your page and give me credit.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to just be like, why don't you put it on your page and give yourself credit? They wouldn't leave me alone.
Yeah, it's because they haven't hit that critical mass of 4 memes yet.
That's what it is. It's 4 memes. After 4, it's easy.
That's the magic number.
4 to 700, no problem.
Yeah, I haven't checked mine lately, but I'm over 4,000, I think, at this point. At least
That's
posts. I don't know if they're all unique memes, but it's pretty close. I think like I'm in the high 90% of my posts are original memes. So if it's a disease, I got it bad, man.
Yeah, it's spreading fast.
It's metastasized.
That's a ton of memes, though. That's tons of content, and that's something, man. To come up with something. Like, you post multiple times a day. We're like a one a time a day kind of guys. Full-time jobs and stuff. It makes it tough to post all the time. But yeah, one a day. But you're like, sometimes I see you put like 4 or 5 out.
Yeah, I'll do that. I tend to average between 3 to 6, but part of that had to do with being in that job that I hated. That I'd rather be on my phone, fucking off, and pretending I didn't have to be there for 12 hours. You know, I could do that a few times a shift for sure.
So, do you have a meme bank, or is it just like you're gonna make them and throw them out there?
That sounds so sexual. I wish there was another word that wasn't meme bank. It sounds like you know what I mean. No, I don't actually have a backlog. Jesus.
Does that sound better?
Let's talk about my meme sack for a second. It's huge. No, I've got a few like old reliable spots that I'll check online that tend to have some good picture content that I can work with. Yeah, I'm sure we all do. I mean, here's the thing, like the amount of meme pages online, we're all just sort of chewing off each other's content, I'm pretty sure. I love how bitchy pages will get like, oh, I see you took my picture. Oh, I see you cut out my watermark. Oh, I get it. I'm like, bitch, you just did that to 4 other memes the other day. Like, everybody does this. It's just, if all you're taking is the picture, go nuts. Cut out the watermark. You don't need it on yours. But if you're taking like the whole meme, well, oh no, now you've crossed the line. Now it's war.
We were pretty serious in the beginning. Like, we'd be like, that guy's meme's not that funny. Or, our meme's better. Or, that guy stole their fucking meme. And we would go crazy. The first time we had like a viral meme, it was the Conor McGregor fight with Floyd Mayweather.
Uh-huh.
We photoshopped Conor because he did that thing where he was standing in his bulge was sticking out there. And Floyd Mayweather, we photoshopped poking it.
Poking, yeah, I remember that.
It went crazy, and there was like thousands and thousands of reposts, and then people were racing our watermarks and putting their own on it.
Uh-huh.
And we like went crazy. We had like everyone we know were like, send messages to these sons of bitches. They stole our meme. They're fucking dead to us. And then they were getting blocked. We were blocking all these people. It was so stupid. But we were really serious about it.
Yeah. It's like, I made a thing. You can't touch my thing. You gotta ask me about my thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting the time for our bath time signal now.
Oh, I'm not.
Oh.
Shit. Did I miss bath time?
It is bath time right now.
Okay. Well, you're a little overdressed for the situation, but... speaking of which, you said you had new shirts and new apparel coming out. Is it available right now anywhere?
It is at brojitsu.ca. We are available there. You can also find the link in our Instagram. I'm wearing one of our shirts right here.
Very stylish. I like that. Like you're saying, not very affliction-esque.
We're trying not to be a little more subtle is what we're trying to go after. But we want to definitely, if you know what Brojitsu is and someone else knows Brojitsu, we want one of these interactions. Yeah,
a little side wink, nod, right. Tip of the hat.
It's a good feeling.
The in the know shirt. I like it. Well, yeah, if you got to take off, just shout out anything you need to, any people, any pages, tell people where they can find you. If there's any questions in the chats, hit us up quick. It's bath time.
we can find us on Instagram, Facebook. I think we have a Twitter account.
I'm like that too. Does this still exist?
I don't Twitter, but I think Dan Brojitsu, the second half of Brojitsu works on the Twitter part. Brojitsu.ca. You can check out our gym, 5-star mixed martial arts in Fort St. John. My coach, Dylan Destroyer, and that's about it.
Okay, man. Well, it was a good time having you on here, Lee. Thank you for coming in from the northest of north. We had a little bit of sketchiness, but I think that's because probably the moose wasn't keeping up on the treadmill to keep the power grid going.
That's right.
But we will see you on the World Wide Web, and I thank everybody for tuning in for another episode of You, Me, and Us. We'll see you next time.